Hello, welcome back to Nerdy Geek Talk, or your source for all your nerdy geeky needs. I am Darth Forge, and I'm here with... Say your name.
Oh my god, okay, I thought you cut out. I always say your guys' names. I'm Eric Crownover. God, you scared me. I thought your Skype was cutting out again. Okay, for those of you actually, for anyone watching this, you haven't seen what was happening beforehand. We've been struggling to get John's mic to work, just for Skype to work in general, so he's been cutting out. We literally tried to start the episode earlier, and I thought he was kidding whenever he did the countdown. He did 3, 2, and it was silent. And I thought he was messing with me, and he actually wasn't, so... Good times. But it seems to be working now, and this is going to be relatively episode. Well, I hope it's an episode, since it's an episode. But I hope it's a relatively short episode to avoid your Skype dying, and also because we don't really have much to talk about other than just the new episodes of Rebels. Do you remember the name
This is true.
of the episodes of Rebels?
It was Kindred, and there was one other one. Kindred was episode 7, and then episode 8 was Rebel Assault. No.
No, it was like Tank Assault or something.
Crawler Commanders
Yes,
is
yes,
number 8.
yes.
Rebel Assault is next week's.
So quick question off the bat. I don't know if you know the answer or not. Is this the first time we've seen those Imperial gunships? That they flew around, like whenever they flew onto the crawler? Oh, FYI, there will be spoilers for the episode. There isn't anything super major that happens, like characters that die, but we will be breaking down the episode.
Except for Kanan and Ezra and Hera.
Yeah, all of them die, it's so
Yeah.
sad. But anyway, no, but those Imperial gunships that we see, have we seen them before?
Honestly don't remember.
This is the first time
What do they look like?
So it's the ships. There were like 2 of them that they flew onto the the giant mining crawler thing that, like whenever they did their inspection, the Imperials, they like came on board and stuff.
I think we've seen those before, but I'm not sure.
I don't remember. They're never super important, anyways, whether they have been or not. But I really like the design of them because they do look like they're based off of like Republic gunships, but evolved. It's just neat. I really like them. So I just wanted to point that out. That is a neat ship design that I never really noticed before.
Let me go back and try to find a picture of it, and maybe I'll let you know in a bit.
If you type in Imperial gunship, I'm sure something will come up. But yeah. What did you think of Rook?
Is that the assassin?
Yes.
It was all right. It wasn't really too major of a character.
Yeah, I hope he's not done. Like, if this was just his introduction, I'm okay with that. But if that's all we get of him, that's pretty underwhelming.
You know who played his voice?
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I know who did. I know that.
Sir Alligator.
Yes, yes. So that is neat. They also apparently used a decent amount of his like facial expressions and stuff, which they don't always do for that show. Whenever they were animating him, whenever they were animating the character, they actually took they took video of him while he was recording his lines and took most of his facial expressions and tried to recreate them, which I think is interesting because they don't do that for all the characters, and it still comes off fine, but
All right, so I found a picture of the transport. I'm pretty sure this is the ship you're talking about. I'm just looking up on Google Images. I think this. Yeah, we definitely have seen this before. We've seen it in in season 1. We've seen it all throughout. We mostly see them in the atmosphere of a planet.
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
Send a
You.
picture in the group chat.
All
Like to
right.
me.
You would remember if you go back to the episode uh where what's her face, Ahsoka is running away from
Mm-hmm.
is running away and trying to survive. Um, when the Jedi Order cast her out, uh, Anakin was in one of these ships. Now, granted, the design has changed a lot since
Wasn't it?
in this
Wait,
episode.
what? I thought they had Republic gunships back then.
They did, but this specific ship was more designed for in the atmosphere.
Oh, huh. I don't remember Anakin. I don't remember it in the Clone Wars, but
It
I
was in the
believe you.
Clone Wars TV show.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't remember. I don't remember that at all. Actually,
We,
I'm kind of curious to see it.
we very rarely see them,
Mm-hmm.
but I've noticed that they pop out every once in a while.
Did you see the picture I sent?
Uh,
I sent a picture of the ship I'm talking about. I'm assuming it's probably the same one that you're talking about too, but I don't know that for certain. But yeah,
yeah.
okay. I was
Yeah,
just making sure. Yeah,
that's the chain ship.
it's interesting. I like
Yeah.
that ship.
If you go back to watch that episode, the specifically the part where she escapes from the prison and she's running along the rooftops and they're
Oh
flying
yeah,
after.
I kind of remember that now.
Like, granted, the design has changed a little bit since then, but it's still pretty much the same basic design.
hmm So we found out another thing during this episode. This is a potential spoiler, but we already speculated on the last episode. Uh, Doom, the wolf said it again. The wolf is talking to Kanan and using his name. That is why it's saying Doom. Now, Luke, who's
And
unfortunately not on the show this week, he's too busy, but
Eric was completely wrong, and me and Luke were right about it.
or maybe the opposite of that, since I was saying it was Doom and you guys are saying no, that's stupid, that's crazy. But uh,
I don't think that's necessarily.
Luke's tried to claim whenever I sent that in the group chat, he was like, "No, I still believe it's the double meaning." I said you can't say you still believe it's a double meaning because you didn't believe it was a double meaning before. Maybe you believe it's a double meaning now and it still means DOOM still as in like he's going to die. But you can't say you still believe it's a double meaning cuz you said it was crazy last week. So, there's that.
It's 100% crazy. Also, also, Kanan could be wrong. The wolf could like legitimately mean doom, like as in death, and he just recognizes it as his last name. Like, characters can be wrong.
No, but they made it pretty clear in the episode. They foreshadowed it whenever he was waiting for Kanan and stuff, that wolf.
Uh, you're just stupid.
So,
You're just
it's
stupid.
pretty clear that that theory was not as outrageous as you guys thought.
Oh no, it's the most
Another thing
outrageous,
is that
outrageous thing I've ever heard.
it appears that the Ghost Crew will be staying on Lothal at least till the end of the mid-season finale, which so the season will end. I'm assuming this month. Not the season. The mid like this half of the season will end this month. Presumably, we'll get a trailer sometime in December or early January, and then Rebels will start back up again in January. Fun fact: this will be the first Star Wars TV show to end when it was meant to. Also, so interesting.
Also, last week, you kept on saying the end of the season, and
I
it
meant the end.
confused
I
us
meant till the
because we
finale
thought you meant
of.
the end of the season.
No. I mean the specifically end of the season, the mid-season finale. I mean the end of this half of the season. Also, did you catch? I think they hinted at the Death Star pretty big in this episode. I could be wrong, but
Um,
in the meeting, the
it could be
rebellion,
the Death Star, but I'm not sure.
they were like it's a protocol whatever, which means the Empire has some kind of like. Oh, it's
Wasn't it like Protocol 11?
yes, and they're evacuating. They're completely evacuating all Imperial presence off like an area or a planet. I'm
I thought it was
I felt
specifically Lothal.
no. It's not Lothal because they're not leaving Lothal. I am at least no, because they had the whole debate on whether to attack or not. If the Imperials were leaving Lothal, they wouldn't have debated on attacking. I'm almost certain that's Jeddah. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I feel like that is Jeddah, and we're getting. Well, I don't know. That only leaves a few days in terms of. Maybe it's not. But that's the only other instance that we know of where the Imperials just up and completely left, right? That we know of
Mm,
so far, that that would work in the timeline. That is the only. I'm not saying they can't do it for another planet. They could clearly do it for another planet right now, but I feel like that was a hint at the
Alderaan.
Death Star. But that's later.
Mm,
They don't do that till A New Hope. Also, I don't know how big the Imperial presence even is on Alderaan, but they
I'm
wouldn't.
sure that there was a presence, you
Yes,
know.
but they never intended to attack Alderaan until they had Leia. The testing was Jeddah and then Scarif. They never thought we are going to use this weapon on Alderaan first until they had Leia and interrogated her and stuff. So that couldn't have happened till at least Rogue One, where we first see her uh, escaping with plans and stuff.
Okay.
So I don't. So that's why I'm like thinking it's either something new or possibly Jeddah. Now the only thing is like, how big of a time skip is there in Rogue One? Is there one? Not that there's a huge like a year gap, but in the time that it takes from Jeddah all the way back to they go to the what planet is on where her dad dies, and then they go to Scarif and stuff. So maybe a week. Maybe it's long. It could. Do
I
you think?
don't want to necessarily say as long as a week.
Really? I feel like okay, so I know it didn't feel that long because of the movie, but it would be realistic to say that that's probably that took around a week.
I mean, it
Taking taking
realistically through space travel and stuff like
t-
that, but
taking into
still,
account for traveling and stuff. Yeah, so you could say that that's about a week. I feel like there's
really, we
two.
have no way of knowing.
Yeah, there's I mean, it's possible that Jeddah takes place long before that, and that the way the timeline works in Rogue One is that we just have time skips that we don't really realize are several weeks or like a month. But like the current season of Rebels, the state they're at right now, I don't think they could resolve what's going on in a week. And I don't mean a week our time. I mean a week in terms of them, because the mid-season finale is coming up soon. You still got the whole second half of the season. I don't know. I mean, but see, but that really confused me because that really made me think of Jeddah. Why else would they mention that? Unless it comes up again in Rebels and it was like a plot point for something else. I feel like that had to have been a nod to like Rogue One or something with the Death Star. Otherwise, why would they even put that in there? So I don't know. That confused me. What
Um,
do you think it meant? Do you think it was just some random planet or?
it could be. I thought that they had said specifically Lethal. I could be wrong. I'm gonna have to go back and check that.
It definitely can't be Lothal because they're not leaving Lothal, and they made it pretty clear that like Thrawn is guarding Lothal and everything. They said that the Imperial presence is totally evacuating the area completely.
No, no. I thought that the protocol, when it's initiated, then they'll leave. Like it hasn't been initiated
No,
yet.
no, I'm almost certain they said that that protocol has been initiated.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the episode because
Because that could be a Rogue One connection, but I don't know. It's just so confusing. I think I'm gonna go back and try to look at that moment later too, because
yeah.
I feel like we can even make a little video on that possibly in terms of what the heck that could mean because they wouldn't just toss that in there for no reason. So I'm really confused as to
Yeah.
that moment. Last thing I really want to talk about these episodes is well I want to really quick want to mention that the captain of the mining ship he is a oh shoot what's it called Trandoshan. And he's
hmm
different. He's not. He doesn't look the same as Bosk. I appreciate that. They talked about that a bit in Rebels Recon, how they made him have like a different body type and stuff, but he's still Trandoshan on purpose to make it clear that just because it's an alien doesn't mean they all look the same. Like they all look different just because it's the same species. Like they look different just like people look different. So I thought that was a neat little touch that they finally have a Trandoshan that doesn't look just like Bosk. Um, I appreciated that. But the other thing I really want to mention is, what did you think about the wolves and their portal?
It was very different.
It
Um,
reminded me of Mortis. Is that the planet from the Clone Wars with the son, the father, and the daughter?
it didn't necessarily remind me of that.
Like them
Um,
walking through and like the how they're walking on nothing, but it's almost like their paws were like touching water. There was like ripples and stuff. Like it seemed magical, which the only time in Star Wars that seems like total magic, not like the Force, but I mean like total just like magical stuff is that I ever think of is Mortis. So like not literally the characters remind me of that, but that's what I was just thinking of. Like it was giving me that kind of a vibe. Because it's very rare that Star Wars goes the straight up just magic route. Like this was a rare moment, to say the least.
yeah,
Did you like it, or did you think it was stupid, or what?
I didn't know what to think of it because it was very interesting.
Hmm.
I need to figure out that I need to see more of their explanation of how whatever happened,
I'm curious if
and
we're gonna get an
if
explanation
even
or
if
not.
yeah, they might even not even give it to us. And
I hope
if
so.
that's the case, um, then I really don't know what to think of it. It's
If
very
Yeah,
cool.
if they don't, it looked neat. Like I totally agree. But if they
Yeah,
don't explain it, that's gonna kind of bother me. But in my head, I'm just gonna be like, okay, that was one of those mystical places that it's sort of like just a place where the force is really strong, sort of like Mortis. Like in my head, that's just my little head canon right now. Is that not that it is tied to Mortis, but is a similar type of area slash not necessarily that the wolves are all powerful beings, but that little area, that cave, has some kind of like mystical, magical bond, just like Mortis did. But I really hope they do explain it to some extent.
I could see why they wouldn't though,
Yeah,
because the Force has always been this mystical like entity that we don't know much about, at least before the prequels.
I would
Um,
like some background as to like maybe why the connection's so strong there. I mean, it's possible. I mean, there's no reason why the connection's so strong on Mortis either. So I mean, I guess it's fair to just leave it be though. I don't know. I want them to explain it, but I would certainly understand if they don't. So
Now, do you think that the Force is strong with the Loth Wolves, or with those that specific areas in Lothal,
I think
or do you think it's
both.
both?
I think it's both. What about you? Do you think it's both, or do you think it's just one?
I kind of felt the vibe that it was more of the Loth Wolves.
Really,
Now,
if anything, I would give the slight edge
at
to
least the
the
traveling
area.
part, the traveling part. It
I
could very well be that the fact that they're on a very a planet that's very strong in the Force, that
Mhm.
they are able to do some very mystical things like that. Um, but I kind of felt like more the wolves were the was the entity traveling, allowing the travel to happen.
That's interesting. I do kind of think that you have a point there. Like I don't think they could have just walked
Like
into that
they
cave.
initiated it,
Yeah, like
kind of thing.
I don't think that necessarily they made the portal, but I do think what you said was right. I think that they probably initiated it. That's exactly how I would put it at least. Like I don't think that they could have just done that anywhere because they would have just done it outside when they could have.
Yeah, like if the Imperials tried to go through where they went through, I don't think they would have ended up
Part of me
on a
wonders
proper
if the
planet.
wolves happened to stumble across that location and then they kind of bonded with it, and that's how they became so powerful in the Force, and now they're able to like wield it, or what? I don't know. It's confusing. I'm very intrigued by it. I really hope they explain it a bit more. At least the wolves. I would love it if they explained the like what that temple area was or something, but if they just explain what the heck is the deal with the wolves, and it could even just be that they have a force connection to the planet or whatever, that they are maybe force sensitive. I don't know. They're very interesting. I like how they make me think. I'm really curious to see what Luke thinks of that too. I might have Luke. I might see if Luke wants to do a video on the possibility of the wolves, because I think he was already thinking about doing a video on the possible theories about the wolves, and these episodes certainly gave more questions than answers. So I think he would really like that. So we'll see if he wants to.
What did you think of the cave painting story?
Um, I take that is essentially Ezra and Canaan's prophecy, but I don't know how it ends. Like I wouldn't look at it a ton, but those two people that are coming down, I feel like that's either something really long ago, or that's supposed to be Canaan and Ezra, and that has to do with their fate. What about you?
Um, I kind of thought maybe it was talking more of like an historical event, like um, long ago when people weren't even on the planet yet. Jedi came and the Loth Wolves was the being on the planet
And
kind of thing.
that could explain why the connection and also that area and stuff too. That would make a lot of sense in all fairness. So I think that's very valid. Part of me
Hmm.
just kind of thought whenever he's like, "Hey, like they look like Jedi, like us or whatever," and then I was thinking like maybe that is them. Like maybe that has to do with whatever their fate or destiny is from now on. Especially because the wolf is saying like doom. So I think that the wolf saying Doom and him saying that's my name, Caleb Doom, I feel like that could possibly put a bit more weight behind it maybe being attached to their fate, but I think it's very valid and maybe a little more likely that yeah, that has to do with the historical context of that place and maybe why it has so much power.
It could be both. It could be
Yeah, it
a
certainly could
historical
be
event
both.
that's happening that's foreshadowing what's going to happen to Kanan and Ezra.
I completely agree that that is possible and that's something very Star Wars-y to do. So
Yeah.
but I think that's about it. Is there anything else you can think of that you really wanted to mention, or no?
Um, I don't necessarily think uh, there was anything else that noteworthy.
I didn't think so either. I like the. Oh nope. There's one more thing.
What?
The kiss.
Oh, I thought about that earlier and I just completely forgot about it. What'd you think of it?
You know what? For someone that typically does not like that kind of stuff, especially in Star Wars, like I just don't need it. I don't care about it. I felt that it was totally natural and definitely worked.
Hmm.
I They're a couple that I think they're maybe my favorite couple in Star Wars. I can't think of one I like more. Like I don't even like Han and Leia more than them. Like
That's a huge statement right there.
I
You're
like
gonna get a
Han and
lot of hate.
I like Han and Leia individually, but as a couple, in all fairness, we barely see them as a couple. Um, and but like too, you see so much growth with them. I'm also curious whether or not that was actually the first time they kissed.
It's
Because
no, it's absolutely not. It may be the first time in a while, but
yeah,
it's definitely not. I'm fairly certain. Now, don't quote me on this because it's been forever since I read the book. Fairly certain that in A New Dawn, which is where the character of Hera and Kanan were introduced, that they may have shared a kiss, but I'm not entirely sure on that.
hmm
There was definitely a lot of heavy flirting between the two in
yeah.
that book. I
Oh
can't
yeah, and there
remember if
has
they
been
shared a
throughout
kiss.
the show. I know in Rebels Recon, Pablo Hidalgo specifically mentioned like, yeah, it's been made like pretty clear they have a relationship throughout the show. We just didn't want to. I maybe it was Dave Filoni that said that they didn't want to have it get in the way earlier, but that it's been pretty
Yeah.
clear they're out for each other in the beginning, but they didn't want it to get in
Especially
the way of
with
the
calling
story.
each other love and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Which they've only done like the last couple episodes. Like in particular that I've noticed at least they've only been doing
They
it.
they said it in the first episode too.
Did they? I'm curious. I did not
Yeah.
know that. Yeah.
Remember whenever they picked up Ezra and he went up into the cockpit and they were talking back and forth. Um, Hera called him love.
Huh. I did not. I don't remember that. I believe you. I just didn't remember that. But it's been made pretty clear that yeah, they're a thing throughout all
Yeah.
these seasons. But to finally see something, I was totally okay with it. And I'm typically not usually supportive of those moments. I'm like, get it out of here. I just want to see fights.
How barbaric of you.
I don't really care about the romance very often, but um, Kanan and Hera certainly probably my favorite Star Wars couple ever. And you know what sucks is that there's no way they can stay together because he has to die.
Yeah,
Is what
I
makes it
do.
a little bit more sad. I almost thought because they've done it the last couple episodes where like they're about to, and then something happens to get faked out. Part of me was like, that's gonna keep happening, and then he's gonna die, and they never will have. I mean, not that they've never kissed ever, but
I,
like in the last several episodes, they've tried to and then not gotten to. So I was like thinking, I was like in my head, I was like, oh God, please don't let that be true. But I was kind of wondering, like, is it possible that that almost happens? I'm like, no, it's too depressing for the show. They wouldn't do that.
how do you feel? How would you feel if that kiss and them looking at each other as the doors close is the last time that they will see each other before Kanan dies
Um,
in person?
Part of me kind of was thinking that.
Because I thought that because
I don't think that's likely. I just want to put that out there. I don't think that is the most likely thing because we still have half a season after this finale. But the thought certainly went through my mind.
yeah, it went through my mind whenever Hera was on Yavin
Exactly.
and was talking to Kanan and the group through the hologram and at the end of the last episode.
Mhm.
That's
I
whenever it popped in my head.
Yeah, I don't know. I got a similar vibe that it seemed like she separated from the ghost crew and
Yeah,
that's her jumping off point almost. But she's coming back to the planet. Like the preview for the next episode makes it pretty clear that she's leading the air assault on the planet. Now the thing is, she's been put in charge of the air assault while they're going to be in charge of the ground attack. So it's very possible that she doesn't ever end up on the ground and they don't see each other again and possibly something happens, they get separated and they don't see each other next season. It's possible. It's starting to get real. The fact that Kanan at the very least has to die, and
mm,
like that really hit me this episode with Hera, especially like we mentioned, her going off on her own. That totally just showed to me like, oh, she's out. Now it's a guessing game with the rest. Like they took out the
yeah.
one safe bet, and now it's total. The thing is, it's a little early for them to die right now, so it's kind of like, will they still separate, or will they see each other again before they separate again? I
How
don't
would you
know.
feel if they killed them off at the mid-season finale and it was just Hera for the rest of the season?
I would hate it. Maybe if they just killed Kanan, I still wouldn't be too happy. But like, still seeing Ezra, I could live with that, and I'd still back it. But if they killed like Ezra and Kanan, no, I would not be happy
That being
before the
said, you made
finale.
me think of something. Do you think anybody's gonna die in the mid-season finale?
I don't think any of the
Like for
crew.
shock value?
I don't think any of the crew will. I could be wrong, and I would be okay. I want to say I don't want to say welcome because I don't want them to die, but like I would be certainly surprised if they did that. That'd be a bold move, and I'd be impressed. But I don't think it's very likely that any of the main cast members will. It's possible. What's his name? Is it not? I mean, Price is the Imperial Governor, but I'm thinking of the guy Ryder. Is that his name?
Yeah, Ryder, the older dude.
Very possible he could die in the mid-season finale. Um, Trying to think of who else. They've killed a decent amount of secondary characters throughout Rebels, so I'm trying to think of who else they could. Yeah, not really much else. Maybe they bring Sabine's Mandalorian friend back that has appeared twice and she dies for emotional impact. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm certain we will not
Delaware.
see her again, but that would be just kind of ironic. Like just, oh, here's this character you've only seen for the third time very briefly. She got one episode before. She's dead. Sad. Sadness. But yeah, I certainly enjoyed the episodes, and I am looking forward to more. This has got me pretty excited.
Yeah, me too.
It's gonna be a good season finale. It's getting real.
Yes, it is.
Also has me curious as to what the heck we're going to get next in terms of a show. But we can have a whole episode on that, so let's not do that right now. All right, so I think that's about it. So make sure you check out our other podcasts. We just went over 100 subscribers, by the way, so yay! Um, like literally yesterday, as of this recording, morning, I noticed it, so it's possible it happened Monday night. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that. Check me out at Eric Crowbar on Twitter. You're at Darth Forge, right?
Darth underscore Forge, I think.
Yeah. Description links will be in the description below.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye.